हरि ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरुदेव नमः। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर भारत डिस्प्लेज aggressive goodness. Lala Hansraj suggested to place the Ashok Chakra as a symbol of dharma on the Indian flag. Names of Goddess Saraswati: Sharada, Brahmani, Brahmi, Bharati, Vani, Vak, Purneshwari, Kaviju, Bhagravasini, Mahabhadra, Mahamaya, Varaprada, Saraswati. India First by Sai Tej. Operation Sindoor, the new normal. On 22nd April 2025, a tragic incident took place in Pahalgam that shook the psyche of Bharat. Men were ruthlessly killed, women heartlessly widowed, and children made fatherless. The Pahalgam incident was an attack on the religious cohesion of Bharat and a challenge to both the Indian government and the cultural foundations of Bharat. As a civilization that firmly believes in and promotes Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, universal oneness, this was a testing moment for Indian policymakers and citizens. While the gravity of the tragedy that took place in Pahalgam was extremely high, it was important for India to send a measured message to Pakistan and the world that India would no longer tolerate terrorism. More importantly, the philosophy of this age-old culture, which governs those at the helm of affairs, does not promote engaging in disproportionate aggression that would hinder a country's development. A news recently broke that India became the fourth largest economy in the world and was about to receive the spillover benefits of the emerging US-China trade war. It was crucial for India to be cautious about being pulled into a state of war that would deter its ascending economic progress. However, it was also important for India to strike fear in the hearts of terrorists hidden deep inside Pakistan. What began to unfold in the aftermath of the Pahalgam incident stood as a testament to India's geopolitical, cultural, national philosophy. Apart from placing the Indus Valley Treaty in abeyance, the Indian Armed Forces launched a non-escalatory retaliation titled Operation Sindoor to attack terrorist base camps in 9 locations across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. This military operation shattered the foundation of Jaish-e-Mohammed, a globally listed terrorist organization, as around 10 relatives of its founder Masood Azhar, including the mastermind of the IC-814 hijack, Abdul Rauf Azhar, were killed in the airstrike by the Indian Air Force in Bahawalpur, Pakistan. It is prudent to note that while these terrorist camps were situated in densely populated areas of Pakistan, India carried out precision strikes to ensure that civilian casualties were minimal. This powerfully demonstrated India's commitment to universal brotherhood even when confronting adversaries. Despite India meticulously carrying out military operations targeting terrorists and avoiding civilians, the Pakistan Defense Forces began cross border artillery shelling, small arms firing, and drone strikes on Indian military bases in 15 locations in Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, Gujarat, and Rajasthan, triggering air raid sirens and blackouts in multiple cities. While Pakistan's desperate retaliatory drone strikes, aided by Turkey and China, continued until 10 May. They were unsuccessful in their attempt to inflict any significant damage to civilians or Indian military bases. This failed military operation by Pakistan between May 7 and 10 revealed that the Turkish, Chinese, and Pakistani drones and missiles were no match for the robust Indian defense system powered by S 400 and uh, Akshatir, Akashtir, Akashtir. The performance of Make in India defense technology, more specifically, the precision with which BrahMos missiles, BrahMos missiles destroyed terrorist bases in Pakistan, and the effectiveness with which Akash Tir countered the Pakistani drone attacks bolstered India's position as a manufacturer of and exporter of arms, ammunition, and defense systems. This was evident when global demand for BrahMos missiles, especially from countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia, surged after Operation Sindoor. While few countries across the globe attempted to mediate and lure India into limiting its retaliation by offering trade deals, India stood its ground firm by declaring to the world that trade and terror shall not work together. As a next step, India is making strides in global diplomacy by sending anti terror delegations to various countries across the world to explain its stance and position itself as a primary power center in the global fight against terrorism. India has ensured that its plan of action against terrorism and its message to its foes and the world is crystal clear. Operation Sindoor is more than a military success. It is the new normal. It's Bharat's coming of age moment, projecting itself as a formidable power prepared to uphold universal brotherhood provided its sovereignty and people remain undisturbed. As citizens, we must continue to support our nation's strategic decisions and contribute to our economic strength through innovation and productivity to ensure that India stands first. Mindful Whispers by K. S. Yashaswini. No entry, absolute good or relative good. I am a sticker for obeying. I am a stickler for obeying traffic rules, and I believe that everyone should be as well. Invariably, I am the one chiding my friends to buckle up or stop them from breaking red lights even during slow hours. But I make some exceptions, I realized. There's uh, there is a particular route I take from work where, because of ongoing metro rail construction, the diverted route takes us past two more blocks and adds another 5 minutes to the commute. So, on days when I am on the two wheeler, I make a small but quick round turn and drive on the opposite side of the traffic for 20 meters to reach my office on the other side. Similarly, the other exception I make is when I travel on the wrong side of the road for 10 meters and take a turn to my left rather than take a 30 meters ride on the right side of the road and make a U-turn where it is permitted. This particular bit is near where the local mission center is, and I invariably make this round turn on Sundays after my study class with chicks. Yea, the irony. However, for both these exceptions, I have noticed that I do it only when I am riding a two wheeler because it is easy to slip past. Whenever I am commuting by car, I take the proper directions and follow the rules as usual. Of course, on such days, I lean back in the driver's seat with a smug smile about my obedience and moral superiority over other violators on the road. Am I as bad as the two wheeler rider who habitually races past speed limits, breaking traffic signals, and riding without a helmet? I think not. I break traffic rules only on those two occasions, hardly two times a week. I am not a habitual right? Violator, right? And I do it only when the traffic is slow on Sundays or when the diversion is less than 10 or 20 meters. It is not like I am driving a whole kilometer on the wrong side, which sadly I have noticed is not uncommon in India. Anyway, I still stand the odds of endangering myself on some other unsuspecting person on the road, even for those 2 minutes and 20 meters. So, where is my moral compass when I scold my friends or brothers when they violate rules? I try and reflect upon this hypothesis with other situations as well. Am I eligible to lecture or preach regarding truthfulness if I tell small white lies once in a while? How can I encourage my chick class members to practice kindness and forgiveness if I snap ever so often at my mother, whatever be the reason for our arguments? I am indeed kind and forgiving towards everyone else in my life, but I just can't hold back my tongue against my mother. So, am I only relatively good? Am I only relatively obedient compared to habitual traffic offenders? Am I only relatively kind when the benefactors are everyone else but my own mother? Am I ever fully kind? The sad truth is no. The concept of absolute good means that we can take a value and live by it no matter what. It is not in comparison to the next person. It is fully and wholly a measure of ourselves for ourselves. I am the only one who can judge if I have been truthful every single moment. I am the only one who can observe if I am kind at all times towards all people and only towards a select few or only towards select few when it is convenient for me. We are sleeping as a society because we are all relatively good. And when the baseline for goodness dips further, even regular levels seem saintly. But what if we are all absolutely good? The only example I can think of is Sri Ram, who embodied his principles at all times, not only when it was convenient for him. I tried time and again to practice some values value fully, but I notice some slips now and then. However, I think the pursuit itself has yielded positive results in me and the people around me. Maybe I will consciously avoid these small exceptions going forward. After all, true evolution comes from doing what is right, not what is easy. Readers Right by Mridul Motwani, Joint Secretary, Chief Transformation Circle, CIRS, Chinmay International Residential School. Learning how to learn. Salvador Dali, the visionary surrealist painter, would recline in his push armchair, a bunch of keys clasped in his fingers, glinting faintly in the afternoon light. As he would drift into a gentle slumber, his mind would wander freely, untethered thoughts would swirl like a dreamscape. His conscious consciousness would flicker, conjuring bizarre yet vibrant visuals. Right then, the keys would fall, jolting him awake. Those fleeting yet fantastic images, born in the twilight of sleep, fueled his magnificent paintings, unbeckoned, unbeckoned to Dali. His peculiar ideation technique unlocked the interplay between the two states of his mind, the focused and the diffused modes. The focused mode follows a familiar path using logic and past knowledge, limiting creative thoughts by reinforcing existing nat- neural pathways. In contrast, the diffused mode encourages creating breakthroughs by fostering new ideas, providing a broader perspective. A tea break, a relaxed walk, and wandering thoughts activate the diffused mode, forging new neural connections. Have you ever had a random idea spark while lost in thought? That is the diffused mode, spinning new neural pathways in your subconscious. The focused mode is a flashlight guiding you in one direction, while the diffused mode is a lantern softly illuminating your surrounding. A smooth switch between them unlocks peak performance. Mastering this seamless switch is the key of unlocking effortless learning ability. The brain forms neural networks by encoding new knowledge akin to a forest trail in a chaotic jungle. Initially, neural connections are weak, similar to exercise strengthening muscles. Thinking and learning strengthen our neurons, battering our memory. This is why repeated learning is recommended, and that happens in the focused mode. After absorbing information in the focused mode, the brain needs time to reinforce and organize the knowledge. Until now, you have only taken in the information, but how do you understand it? Understanding happens in the diffused mode when new information connects with existing information. Furthermore, to master the process of learning, we need more than just control over our modes of thinking. Firstly, know that having multiple viewpoints to learn something drastically improves comprehension as it helps to perceive knowledge more cohesively. For example, we cannot become a historian by learning history from a single globalist viewpoint, which can be highly prone to bias. The events must be studied from all the different cultural perspectives, including indigenous ones, to understand their full impact on a populace. Secondly, our brain controls the body and the body powers the brain. Hence, it is of paramount importance that the body is healthy. Brain efficiency primarily depends on two main things, sleep and physical exercise. Good sleep ensures that the new memories are properly organized and strengthened. During sleep, newly formed memories are transferred to the hippocampus temporary storage, to the neocortex long term storage. Lack of sleep results in weak memory formation and many other brain related problems that affect cognitive function, mental health issues, and increased stress. The same sentiment is echoed by Krishna in the Gita, wherein he advocates adequate food, exercise, and rest in a single verse. Physical exercise is a direct factor in improving synaptic plasticity, neural connections, making learning and memory stronger. Exercising increases blood flow and thus increases oxygen levels. More oxygen leads to better focus, concentration, and reduced reaction time. Evidence suggests that students who exercise regularly perform far better in studies than students who don't. Together, a good sleep schedule and regular exercise significantly improve the strength of our memories and overall mental health. Knowing all this in theory is one thing, but how do we ensure that we benefit from it? By cultivating a learner's mindset. Learning isn't an occasional process, it's a lifelong attitude. It is a simple shift in perspective from I am bad at math to I can improve with practice. Mistakes are not setbacks but rather stepping stones to grow. We must stay inquisitive, ask the right questions, explore new fields, and never let our curiosity be satiated. After all, youth isn't defined by age but by one's willingness to learn and grow. Employing the techniques and methods mentioned in this article will make learning effortless, leading us to a lifelong journey of knowledge and rediscovery, igniting the fire of seeking within and helping us transform our infinite potential into actions which propel us higher towards the glorious peaks for evolution. Readers write by Prasiddhi Dave, Czech Chennai. Do trade and terror go together? Love for Pakistan? No, it is hate for Hindus. It is evident from recent developments that the Indian government and armed forces responded swiftly and decisively to the terror attack. Their firm military and diplomatic actions sent a clear message against terrorism. It is of utmost importance to note that there was a silent yet very powerful participant in this terrorist act, Turkey. Turka may mean strong, strength, right, but in this instant it backstabbed India. India has always stood for peace, diplomacy, and humanitarian values. This was clearly demonstrated when India responded swiftly with Operation Dost when the massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Turkey, Turkey and Syria on February 6, 2023, causing widespread devastation. The estimated damage in Turkey alone was US dollar 148.8 billion, nearly 9% of the country's GDP, and over 53,500 lives were lost. India had sent NDRF rescue teams and essential relief material. By February 9, six IAF C 17 aircraft had already delivered aid, and a seventh flight had reached Adana Airport on February 12 with medical equipment, rescue supplies, and disaster relief. In total, India had extended humanitarian aid worth 7 crore rupees, a gesture of solidarity in the time of need. Despite India's goodwill, Turkey's recent actions raise serious concerns. Turkey supplied over 350 Bayraktar TB2 and Yiha YIHA drones and developed military operatives and deployed military operatives to support Pakistan in its conflict with India last month. This involvement included operational coordination and drone warfare tactics, marking an unmistakable act of betrayal. Such support does not stem from historical ties between Turkey and Pakistan. Rather, it reflects a narrow ideological alignment. In light of this, it is time to rethink our engagement, especially economic, with nations whose actions are misaligned with India's security interests. Turkey benefits significantly from Indian consumers and trade. Indian tourists contribute over rupees 4,400 crore annually to Turkey's economy. India imports over rupees 34,870 crore US dollars 4.2 billion worth of goods from Turkey, including mineral fuels, machinery, iron and steel, precious stones, and more. Godiva, a luxury chocolate brand, now owned by Turkish company Yildiz Holding, is a popular premium import in India. Alternatives from Indian artisanal chocolatiers like Chocolate Paul and Mike or Amul's single origin range, as well as international brands like Lindt and Ghirardelli can easily replace it. Beko, a Turkey appliance brand, operates in India through a joint venture with Voltas Tata Group. Indian consumers can consider well established alternatives like Godrej, IFB, Whirlpool, or Bosch, which offer similar or better quality with deeper roots in India. Turkey supplies around 70% of India's imported marble, nearly 14 to 18 lakh tons annually, worth rupees 2500 to 3000 crore. This can be effectively replaced by Indian options like Makrana Marble, Rajasthan, Ambaji White, Gujarat, or international options like Greek Thasos Marble. India is not dependent on Turkey for mineral fuels, oils, steel, and diamonds. Russia remains a reliable partner for nuclear reactors and advanced machinery. Japan and Germany are long standing allies. The strategic trade foundation is already strong. Turkey was never central to it. At the civilian level, we must act with intention. Avoid travel to Turkey and instead explore alternatives like Greece, Israel, or Bali. Destinations rich in culture, beauty, and affordability. Choose airlines like Air India, Lufthansa, or Singapore Airlines over Turkish Airlines. Opt for Himachali or Kashmiri apples or New Zealand Gala apples instead of Turkish apple imports. National security isn't the sole responsibility of the government and armed forces. It is a collective responsibility. As citizens, our economic choices are powerful tools. Every rupee we spend is a vote for or against the values we stand for. Let us stop funding nations that undermine our sovereignty. Let us redirect our economic strength towards allies, homegrown industries, and ethical trade partners. It is time to choose not just what we buy, but who we support. Ramayan Reboot by S. Arvind Raghavan. Leadership Part 1. What does it take to be a good leader? We are asked Manav after turning on the Ramayan Reboot app. You see, my classmates want me to stand for the G7 General Secretary post. I am still not convinced that I can be a good leader. So I wanted to understand how to be a good leader the Ramayan way. Thanks for the question, Manav, and again for providing me with the right context. There are many styles of leadership, and one can choose the right one based on one's personality. But definitely, there are some pointers of both good and bad leadership that one can learn from the Ramayana. Would you like me to start with the good or the bad? No, asked VR. Hmm. Let us start with the bad first so that the contrast will be clearer when you mention the good. Alright. For bad leadership, one needs to look no further than Ravan. While I know he is the big bad guy of Ramayana, I have heard that he was a good king to his people. So, why do you say he was a bad leader? Asked Mano curiously. Ravan built his wealth by stealing from others. After gaining invincibility from most groups of beings except men and Vanaras, Ravan went on a military campaign against almost all of them. He started with his cousin Kuber and then fought with Devatas, Nagas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Danavas, and so on. He even went on to challenge Shiva Bhagwan but was completely defeated there, after which he became a devotee of Mahadev. Most of his campaigns were undertaken to satisfy his ego or his greed, but in the process, his army was constantly occupied in unnecessary warfare and bloodshed. That sounds like many of the expansionist minded kings and leaders that we have seen in recent history as well, replied Manav. True, further, just to satisfy his lust, he abducted Sita without consulting anyone and even ignored the advice of Marich. This was an act for which both Vibhishan and Kumbhakarna criticized him. After Hanuman devastated Lanka, Ravan was humbled and he even admitted that good leaders take everyone into consultation before acting and bad leaders act on their whims and fancies. Ah, so he did show some remorse. That is a good quality to have, right? We are. Indeed, it is Mano, but what he did after that was exactly contrary to that. This is to be continued in next issue. Let us go by Rohini Manohar, climbing hills and calming storms, a Yelagiri story. Sometimes the best way to reconnect with yourself is to step away from the noise of daily life and immerse yourself in nature's quiet embrace. I was 6 months pregnant, and the pace of life in the city plus my work was just getting too much. I wanted to travel, but not too far away. I asked my husband to look for places where we could quietly escape, and he suggested the tranquil hill station of Yelagiri, Tamil Nadu. It is a perfect blend of serenity, adventure, and introspection. Over 2 days, I found myself discovering more than just the beauty of the landscape. I discovered the joy of slowing down, breathing deeply, and simply being present to massive changes that were happening in my body and were going to happen in my life. Day 1, a walk through the Yelgiri Bird Park. Our first day began with a visit to the Yelgiri Bird Park, a place that felt like stepping into another world. The moment I entered the park, The symphony of chips and calls filled the air, instantly grounding me in the moment. It's easy to forget how soothing the sound of bird song can be when you are wrapped up in the hustle of city life. In the aviaries, colorful parrots and elegant peacocks strutted proudly, while outside I spotted kingfishers darting across the water. I walked and saw so many different birds and learned so much about them. There was something meditative about watching these birds. Their grace, their effortless freedom, and their absolute lack of fear. Some came right up to us to get food. It was scary and incredible at the same time. As we walked around, small puppies chased around my legs, and I saw some tiny baby goats trying to climb up a bush and munch on some leaves. The park isn't just for bird watching, it's a space for stillness and playfulness too. Sitting by the small pond, watching the ripples, I felt the calmness and joy seep into me. I had no agenda, no rush. It was just me, nature, and a gentle reminder to breathe and be present. Day 2 trek to Swamimalai Hills. The next morning, I set out for Swamimalai Hills, not sure what to expect. I had heard about the trek's challenges, but I was more drawn to the idea of seeing the world from a higher perspective, both physically and metaphysically. Swami Malai, at 4,338 feet, promises stunning views, but what I didn't realize was how much would challenge me in more ways than one. The trek began early to avoid the midday heat. The trail was a mix of shaded paths and open stretches, and each step brought a different feeling. At times it was exhausting, and I could feel my muscles protesting, but there was something about being surrounded by such raw beauty that made it all worth it. The path would through tall trees. The path wound through tall trees and thick undergrowth, and every so often I had stopped to listen to the birds, the wind in the leaves, the sound of my own breath. The higher I climbed, the more the air shifted, cooler and thinner, and with it my thoughts slowed down. I began to appreciate the quiet. I wasn't just climbing a hill, I was letting go of distractions, allowing myself the space to be in the moment. It felt like a form of meditation, a chance to shed the unnecessary weight of the world. As I climbed, I turned to my husband and said, "Thank God, no one else is on this trail. I am enjoying the quiet." And just as I finished my sentence, I heard footsteps and distant conversation. I was a little disappointed, but I was also tired. So I sat waiting for them to catch up with us. In about 5 minutes, we met another couple, and the first thing they said was, "Oh my God, we are so grateful you are on the trail." We thought we would be all alone, feeling so happy now. I smiled at them and made polite conversation. I also told them I needed some more rest because I was pregnant and they could climb up ahead as would be 10 steps behind. As they climbed up, their voices became less audible. I turned to Vinod and said, "How funny is it? I was hoping no one would be here, and she was waiting for someone to be here." One experience, two different perspectives. He smiled at me and quietly held my hand. "Don't get too happy with this quiet. I hear the summit is beautiful." We climbed and finally reached the summit. I was breathless, not just from the climb, but from the sheer beauty that greeted me. The Swami Malai temple stood quietly at the top, and I took a moment to sit there, absorbing the 360-degree view of Yelgiri's lush valleys and distant mountains. The world looked different from up there, clearer, simpler. Everything felt so small, and yet in that moment, I felt incredibly connected with all, connected to it all. I went into the temple to offer a flower from a nearby tree, but the sanctorium was closed. We peered through the keyhole to see a huge reclining Vishnu with Mahalakshmi by his side. We walked around the small but ancient temple only to see some morons had tried to draw the cross on the temple walls to claim the place to be Christian. I was furious and upset. How could people desecrate a holy place with such little thought? And why was no one doing anything about it? I found an old ragged cloth and started wiping out the marks, sad and angry at the same time. My sense of quiet and stillness was gone. My mind was in a rage. Vinod helped and then said, "Relax, let us speak with the villagers about what happened and make things right. For now, clean up the best, but don't lose the stillness you discovered on your way up here." A much needed reminder. I stopped, took a few breaths, and took in the scenery. Man was crazy, but the presence of God was everywhere. I just needed to stop being angry to feel it. As I made my way back down, the sense of peace lingered despite the occasional angry thought. The trek wasn't just about the destination, it was about the quiet moments in between, the sense of stillness I found within myself as I moved through the hills and experienced all that I did. Destiny by Rukma Sadekar. There is our mind needs to relax as much as our body does. The quality of our sleep has deteriorated to the extent of reducing our productivity during the day and our ability to handle challenges. Make it a habit to cut off from gadgets and electronics at least an hour before you go to sleep. In fact, keep your mobile outside your room. Taurus. While you provide enough exercise for your body, don't make the mistake of neglecting exercise for the brain. Set times during every day when you will read for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Start with any book of your choice. Join a local library if you don't want to invest in books for whatever reason. Gemini, not having time is our most common lament when it is actually lack of planning. Before switching on your laptop or beginning your workday, sit with a blank piece of paper and decide what will make this day highly successful. What are the things that must be accomplished that day? Prioritize. Prioritize. Cancer, June 22 to July 22. Quiet with the no time to exercise. Excuse. It's stale. You can certainly spare 12 minutes every day for your health. 12 cycles of Surya Namaskar are all that you need to do. It provides all round health benefits with its controlled breathing, back bending bends, forward bends, invigorating and calming postures. Leo, July 23 to August 22. Without gratitude for all that is going well for us and for all that we have and the people who are there for us, there is not much that we can accomplish. With a sense of gratitude comes positivity and vitality that makes us efficient and focused, thereby becoming magnets for success. Virgo, August 23 to September 22. Get that green thumb going. If you don't have space, consider making a terrarium or having potted plants. Visit a nursery, find out what suits your weather and is easier to care for. Invest in colorful ceramic pots to place around your room. Gardening will help you calm down while livening up your home. Libra, September 23 to October 23. It is not the receiver that is blessed, but it is the giver, said Swami Vivekananda. Whether we want to or not, we are receivers from day one, right from receiving care to all that nature provides us. It takes special efforts to be a giver, as giving does not come easy. Blessed is the one for whom giving comes naturally. Scorpio. Stress has become second nature to us with devastating effects on our physical and mental health. They are try art therapy for yourself. Create something that you can initially literally carry with you as a reminder, such as a card, bracelet, keychain, japamala. If you can't make it yourself, buy something and personalize it by adding some embellishments. Sagittarius, enough, that's your power word for this month. Enough of tardiness, enough of agitation, enough of procrastination, enough of grieving, enough of lazing, enough of angry outbursts, enough of name calling. It's time to put a stop to everything that's an obstacle between you and your growth. Say enough and clear your route. Capricorn, December 22 to January 19. What is the one adjective that comes to your mind when you think about yourself? Write it down. Does that description of you help you move forward? If yes, make a poster of the word and put it up. If the word thwarts your confidence and efforts, then it's about time you replaced that word with a positive one. Aquarius, January 20 to February 18. There is no sin worse than wasting your potential. Identify what it is that interests you and hone that skill. Go for a workshop, join an online course, find a mentor, be an apprentice to a stalwart in the field. Do anything that you need to do to live up to your potential. Spare no effort. Pisces, February 19 to March 22. There is no confidence booster than like travel. You don't have to go far. You can simply explore your town or city or even the neighborhood. You might be enough for a pleasant surprise. There are always lanes and areas that we unwittingly bypass as we rush through our busy routines. Go on, explore. Why don't pencils get ever get into arguments? Laugh aloud, laugh out loud, laugh out loud. Because they always draw the line before it gets too serious. Why did the cloud breaks up with the sun? Because it needed some space. Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts. So in this way, this Udghosh reading is complete. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha.